In today's video, I want to talk about the Islanders reserve list, and specifically who is on the reserve list that the Islanders need to sign by the end of the year or they will lose their rights to. Happy Tip Top Tuesday, where I wear a suit because I want to feel better about my profession and I don't want to just sit here wearing sweatpants all day, so I'm putting a suit on. It's making me feel like $1,000,000, even though I don't actually feel like $1,000,000. I feel like garbage right now. But let's get to the video. Let's not talk about how I feel. Let's talk about Islanders reserve list and the players who are on it who the Islanders could lose their rights to by the end of the year. So if you're not sure what the reserve list is, it's just a list of players that the Islanders control their NHL rights to, but have yet to sign to an NHL contract. Usually these are draft picks, well, not all, usually, they're always draft picks that haven't yet been signed to a standard player contract or an ELC type of thing. So if you look at the Islanders reserve list right now, and this is from Cap Friendly, here are the players that are currently on the Islanders reserve list. So again, these are players who the Islanders control their NHL rights to for a determined period of time. And you'll see in the graph here how long the Islanders hold this player's rights till. And so here's a list of players entirely. Now we're only really concerned with the ones in red because the Islanders will lose their rights on that date this year. So we're talking about 6 players here. We're talking about Logan Cockrell, William Zful, Ruslan Iskhakov, Christian Krieger, Ben Mirageas, and Jakub Pavelka. Those are the 6 players who the Islanders can lose their rights to. So let's talk about all those 6 one at a time and decide, not even decide, but talk through, will the Islanders re-sign this player or not? So I've got their headshots all down here, all 6 players, and we'll talk through each one of them individually, and we'll drop out players who we don't have to worry about as we talk through them. You've got your 6 players here. First one, Logan Cockrell. Captain for Boston University, had an okay year. Much of the success that Boston University had was in the second half where they really started surging up. Won a Beanpot, which is important. Will the Islanders sign him? He played 5 years for BU. It's time to go pro. I would suspect that they do. There's just the fact that he wears the captaincy, right? Like I talked about it before, will these guys make the next step up? I suspect that they will sign him before the August 15th deadline. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet because why not bring him into the AHL as the AHL is playing and you get to see what happens. You can still sign this kid for next year, right? You sign a contract for 22-23 and you give him an ATO through the rest of the year. The Islanders have done that in the past, specifically with someone like Oliver Wahlstrom. So why not do that with Logan Cockrell? I'm not sure why they haven't yet, but it hasn't happened. I suspect that they'll sign this kid to some sort of contract. Then we have William Zful. Excellent season at the QMJHL level. 48 goals, 102 points. Things are going very well for him. And the year isn't done. There are still about 10 games left in the regular season. Then there's the playoffs, and then there's the Memorial Cup, which St. John will be in because they're hosting. So he's going to that no matter what. So not only does he have another couple of games to add to that regular season production of 102 points, but he's got the chance to add some serious hardware to his name before making the jump to the pros. Now the big question is, will the Islanders sign him? They have until June 1st, 2022 to do so. Will they? Yeah, I have to think so. Like I tweeted out just the other day, the New York Islanders are very interested in William Zful. They are watching him play a lot. They're going out to dinner and talking to him. He himself even talked to Peter Schwartzman and said, I can't wait to go to Bridgeport. Like, it can't be any more clear than that, than him doing like, look, here's my contract, look. It doesn't get any clearer than that outside of, yeah, having the actual contract. So will they? Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure they will re-sign William, or not re-sign, but actually sign William Zful to an NHL contract. Now we've got Ruslan Iskhakov, who is having a strong year for Adler Mannheim. In terms of production, he's got 22 points in 25 games. They're now in the playoffs. They haven't yet skated in game number 2 as when I'm recording this, but in game 1, he's already got a helper on the power play. So things are going pretty well for him. Now the big question, will they sign him by June 1st, 2022? And I keep doing this because I'm pointing to one of my 4 monitors here. And that's where I have the reserve list graph open. Will they sign him? I don't know. I haven't asked him just because I don't feel it's a right time to do so. I'll wait. He's in the playoffs. There's no sense in asking that question. It's really not the time to be thinking of that. He's laser focused on the playoffs. No sense in me coming in asking a dumb question right now. But do I think the Islanders will resign him? I have to hope they will. This is a second round pick after all that is showing promise in European leagues when you look at his play and you look at his production. The thing that concerns me though right now is size, obviously. Unfortunately for him, he's not very big. And so right away there's a knock. And for a player of his size, he has to stand out more. And I don't think he's necessarily doing that in terms of when it comes to the NHL eyes. And what I mean by that is that I think he's standing out fine. I think he's shown enough to warrant a look-see at the pro level in North America. But maybe North American scouts are going, you haven't shown enough considering your size. Because when you look at his deployment right now with Adler Mannheim, he's playing fourth line. He's now down to about 10 to 13 minutes a day. And that's just not enough. And I'm worried that's going to be kind of like, sorry, that's a knock. We're good. I worry about that for him in regards to staying with the New York Islanders. But we'll see. So instead of just taking him off completely from here, I'm going to bring him down halfway. And that's not a shot at his side. Now we've got defenseman Christian Krieger playing in the NCAA. He was playing for MSU, has played 4 years there for him. Will they re-sign him before August 15th, 2022? No. He has entered the transfer portal, which means he's going to continue his college career. Assuming he finds somewhere to go. He hasn't yet signed with anyone, so maybe something happens there where he finds a new team, or maybe he goes back to MSU, which might be complicated because if he does that, they might be able to pull his scholarship and then kind of why go type of thing. So I don't think they're going to sign him because I think he's going to find a spot at the NCAA level. He's going to find a club, or a team, I should say, that is going to want to keep him even as a second or third paired defenseman. Which would then push the reserve list date back a year. So now the Islanders don't have to sign it by August 15th, 2022. They would have to do so by 2023. Moving down the list to Ben Mirageas, another defenseman out of the NCAA. Will they re-sign him by same date because it's from the same place, NCAA? Will they re-sign him by August 15th, 2022? Probably not. Now, we all know that Ben Mirageas went back to Providence for a 5th year, played about half the year, and then just left. Whether that was the college saying go or him saying I'm out still isn't clear. But the fact that the Islanders haven't signed him yet, even though he's perfectly eligible to be signed to a pro deal, kind of says they're not going to, so I'm taking him out of the list. Final one here is Jakub Ivanka. Just like the other guys, or the last couple of guys, he is a college player. So eligibility date, or the must sign by date, is August 15th, 2022. Will the Islanders sign him to a standard player contract by then? No. If you've seen the other videos that I did specifically recently, you'll know that Jakub Ivanka signed, or transferred, I should say, to Omaha, Nebraska. So he entered the transfer portal just like Christian Krieger and exited it because he found a new team. So he is now playing for Omaha, Nebraska. Now what that means is the must sign by date moves back a year, right? So no longer do the Islanders have until August 15, 2022 to sign him to a standard player contract. They will now have until August 15th, 2023 to sign him to a standard player contract. So these are the players I think the Islanders will re-sign before they lose their NHL reserve list rights. So that means before they lose them to UFA status. Now, I'm not entirely positive when it comes to the Russian Ishakov at this moment, just because there are some areas of concern that I have, mainly because they didn't sign him last year and I thought they would have. But either way, these are the players that I'm fairly positive they will re-sign before we lose their reserve list status. Now, if you want to find out more about the reserve list and how the dates are established and so on and so forth, go to CapFriendly. I've included the link in the description. They do an excellent job of laying out how a player ends up on a reserve list and how long they're supposed to be there. So if you have any questions, comments, or concern, feel free to ask me, but also check out that link because it lays it out perfectly. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you have, thank you, thank you, thank you.